Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Put It in the Book show, season 3, episode number 28. We are deep into the season, and as you can see by Keith's face or partial face, it's gonna be a rough show, but we're here. I am Steve. Got Keith to my left. No Rodriguez today. He's taking the week off, and producer Joe is behind the glass, making this as easy as possible for me. So I appreciate that as always. We got a lot to talk about. What happened over the weekend, some injury updates, some trade deadline stuff. Promise we have some stuff to talk about,
Really.
and we'll get to that
Tune out.
before Keith says tune out. Don't tune in, tune out. All right, Keith, I'm going to pass it over to you real quick to talk about a little Brooklyn Water Cafecito.
Perfect timing. Catch me right while I'm choking. BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com.
Are you okay?
From your chokery to your front to your front oxygen tank. Yeah, that went down the wrong way. BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. From their roastery to your front door, only the finest beans. When I say beans, I mean beans are selected just for you. And if you think I'm pointing at you, you're right. It's just for you. BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com. There's tons of delicious flavors out there, such as dark roast, dark chocolate. It is one of the most popular coffees out there in the Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters universe. It is a dark, chocolatey, rich, delicious, flavored coffee. And don't worry, you can be guilt-free drinking this, because how many calories are in that, Steve?
Settle.
Boom. Then there's my favorite, jacked up cupcake, which is what we also like to call our friend Rodriguez. It's the higher caffeine line, 50% more caffeine per cup. So if you need that kick in the ass in the morning, that's the line to go with. And there's several other flavors within that line. I recommend you try it out. And all of those coffees have how many calories, Farachi?
A grand total of Settle.
Boom. And you don't have to order necessarily flavored coffees. There's also the medium roast coffee, which is actually the most popular coffee they have. And they do hand select some of the finest beans, and they're craft roasted. It's not like, when you get one of these big companies where they just roast in these giant pots. Each order is roasted to your desire. Check them out now. www.brooklynwatercoffeeroasters.com. From roastery to your front door, guaranteed to ship within 24 hours of its roast date. And if you ask now, or you can act now too, you get your third bag free if you order two. If you use the code MASKON. www.brooklynwatercoffeeroasters.com. Peace. Did I kill enough time for you, or do I need to drag that out more?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Whenever you say that the beans are hand-picked, I always imagine Chris from Brooklyn Water Coffee Roasters, like at Publix,
like Guatemala,
and he's like,
he's
he's got like the tomatoes. You hold it, see how firm it is.
Yeah, you know what I call that? And I'm going to say a bad word right now, and I want everybody to, if you're offended by bad words, I'm just giving you a heads up. It's like when you go to the supermarket and people start grabbing fruits, they finger fuck them.
Wow.
Yeah, they're finger fucking your fruits. Like, oh yeah, and then you're supposed to pick up that same tomato somebody else just finger fucked and go home and cook with it. No.
What do you do?
Chris doesn't do that. Chris has the eye for beans.
He's got the eye of the tiger.
Have the eye for they see it and they know, and they just grab it. They don't need to finger fuck your beans. They grab them and roast them. All right.
I almost shared the show to an atheist page. I don't know even how.
Well, they might have liked the term finger ass. Sorry, and I'm sorry for all of my friends out there who might have been offended by that. But hey, it is what it is. Look, we lost 2 viewers just for my finger F comment. But let's go right to the Mets.
let's which is another sore subject. All right, so since last we spoke, we were your pregame show last Wednesday, and since then we went a glorious 3-4. Stretch against the Marlins and then the Yankees, and we'll get to that. We're going to talk about the trades that the Mets made today. Do they matter? Was it enough? Whatnot? We'll talk about Steve Cohen, who since we last spoke here, has taken over the reins and will be the next owner of your New York Metropolitan.
Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry, Steve. Is that official?
Yeah,
Tim, what's
it's
up, my
a
brother?
it.
I
So
thought it was just he had the exclusive bidding rights, and now they were negotiating. But the negotiations are done. It's official.
almost, but
Okay.
so that'll lead me into a little bit more of a discussion on that.
Cool.
But we'll get there. I want to talk a couple of things about our young, well, not young, inexperienced, not inexperienced, our manager, and is he overthinking things? With some of the moves that he's been making. And then we'll do our, I don't know, do we call it a book club? We'll do a little book stuff. We'll ask one of our loyal listeners, watchers, to choose a number between 1 and 100 outside of the number 16, which is what we Mr. Laris chose last week, Papa Laris. So we do have a lot to talk about. Brody, have any more pitching prospects to give away? No, I don't think so.
I'm not
But
Bill, William, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you want to be called, but you're right either way.
yeah. All right. So real quick, I just want to run down the injury stuff because Brody had a press conference after the game. I don't usually not usually available to watch the press conferences, but I was today. So JD Davis is day to day, hopeful to return in the Orioles series, which starts tomorrow. Matt's they got some promising news on him. Should be able to return after the 10 days. Whether that is back to the bullpen or out of necessity, is it back to the rotation? Obviously, we'll find out. And then Betances doesn't look to be a serious injury. Brody then said, "I didn't get a chance to meet with him and go to the room today because it was the trade deadline." So
Sometimes honesty is not always the best policy.
yeah,
That
but
being the case.
Brody said that he was in it. He was in it. He was
It is
in
trading
it.
deadline. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on, but I mean, come on.
Yeah. So, but good news is that it doesn't seem to be serious. So we'll look towards
I got a
the
problem
near
with that,
future.
Mike. Was that a good Chris impression?
Chris, a little Chris Russo action there. It's going to be a tough one to slog through here. So let's talk real quick. We'll get those injuries out of the way. I do want to talk about some of the acquisitions that the Mets made today, trade deadline. Nothing spectacular. Didn't think that there was going to be a lot of big splashes this year because everybody is in the race. Everybody except for the Pirates, as we came into today's game, was less than 3 games out of a playoff spot. So that's what happens during the crazy 2020 season, and the fact that more than half of the league is going to make the playoffs. So Keith, what do you think about that? As far as a lack of enthusiasm surrounding the trade deadline this year because everybody's in it.
Right. I think the lack of enthusiasm is also based off of the lack of buildup. So a lot of times the trade deadline is huge because there's the buildup. You got 4 or 5 months of baseball. You got such lots of ups and downs. There is no ups. There's no downs. There's just this. It's flatline because everybody's in it. To your point, so I think the trade deadline is not as exciting. I'm glad to see we picked up some. We'll get into that, but we picked up an arm at least.
Yeah.
Backup catcher, and that's. I think there's not as much dramatics. There's no more peaks and valleys. It's just whoosh, it's a straight shoot. It's like funny car racing versus NASCAR racing.
Yeah, very good there. All right, so I guess the biggest thing that happened for the trade deadline wise was Mike Clevenger goes to the San Diego Padres, who are going for it. They've been playing well.
Can't blame them.
Tatis is back this year.
Yeah.
He's not. Machado's hitting well. So the lineup is doing well. And I said last year, if the Padres got any pitching last year, they were going to be dangerous. And that they had it and kind of sputtered. And now they come alive with one of the better pitchers in the American League. Certainly a huge strikeout guy. He had his issue earlier this year with the COVID-19 stuff where he went out and about and then lied about it. So that could have played a role into pushing for a trade. But he seems to be very happy. He wants to be in San Diego. I guess that's what he said around his circle of friends, that he wants to go to San Diego. And then here's my question that I haven't heard much about. So all these teams, so the Red Sox or let's say Cleveland. So Cleveland is doing their thing. Everybody has their protocols, some looser than others. But throughout the first 30 to 35 games of the year, it's all been regional action, right? So the Central has played the Central and so on and so forth. So now you're going outside of that. Are there any? Have you heard, and producer Joe, if you've heard, chime in. Have you guys heard of anything where certain protocol has to be followed once you're traded into another region? So the Indians traded Mike Clevenger to the West. Does that screw up anything that they've been doing from a COVID-19 standpoint?
I don't know if Joe wants to jump in, but okay.
No.
We can see Joe, but y'all can't. So when I said no, that he was saying no,
Which is great. I love it.
So here's the deal. I think that personally, as long as they're following the Major League protocol, it carries throughout. So I think the Major League protocol is global. I think each team does have their individual protocol, and if the Major League protocol, the global protocol, doesn't fit or does not meet the standards of the individual protocol, being the team, they will implement something. What that is in this particular case, I don't know. But as long as everybody's following that global protocol, I think they can pipe right in unless the team has their own protocol in place. I know I said protocol a whole lot of times, but did you follow?
It's part of the protocol to say protocol.
Yes. No, I think right. I think there's the global, and everybody adapts to that. And if you have something that's more strenuous within, then kind of like government and state.
Yeah. Very intelligent answer there that I couldn't come up with. So that's why you're here. You're the brains of the show.
Double guns for you.
Yes. All right. All right. So let's get to the guys that we got here. I don't know. I could bring it up, but I'm not going to. You guys can look it up if you want any more details. But
crying faces. Carlos Ramos. The Todd father is back. We will get into that later, sir.
Stealing my thunder here. All right, so the Mets made 3 separate trades today. Only one player protocol. Only one real player was traded away from the Mets, and we'll get to that. Everybody else was either a player to be named later, the very famous player to be named later, or cash considerations. And in a couple of situations, we have a player to be named and cash coming back in the Orioles trade. So we get Miguel Castro. He's a late inning guy, 24 strikeouts and 15 2/3 innings this year. ERA of 4.02 this season. He's pitched well. He's had 1 or 2 outings where it's not gone well, and which is, I mean, that's clear to be said about most bullpen arms.
Better than Diaz.
We'll get to that later.
But you know what?
Joe's fuming. I just saw smoke coming out of Joe's ears when you mentioned Diaz.
He's got a live arm, and he's 25 years old. This kid.
Yeah.
So it's something to work with.
And he's not going to be a closer. Expectation to be a closer, So
right.
I think that's important too.
I think he gets that good, but that's not what we got him for. We got him for an arm and a pen. He's 25. Kid's got a live arm, and he's had some good games behind him. He's got good. As soon as I heard when you mentioned because I was working and I didn't hear and you mentioned the trade, I started looking up video on him. From the little bit I saw, he's got some live stuff. Very, very potentially a very good move, but it's not going to be an immediate impact. This is something that hopefully helps us now, but will help us in the future if we can coach him right.
Yeah, I hope it helps us out, now from that bullpen perspective. But I mean, I don't envy our manager. I don't envy our GM at all right now, because you're pushing these buttons and nothing is working out right. And within a blink of an eye, the season teeters, on the seesaw. So All right, so we get Miguel Castro. We grab a cat. We do need a catcher. It's been Buffalo, and he's not been up to his normal standards this year. And then the other guys have been on the injured list.
Right, Nito 19
Nito
we
with the
think
COVID
has
thing.
COVID-19. Nito 19 we think has COVID
Nito
19.
19, yeah.
We'll see.
So we grab Robinson Chirinos, and this is not. It's a very small sample size. He's only had 42 at bats this year. He's a backup catcher. He's batting 119 this year. His lifetime average is only 240 ish or something like that. So this guy's not a guy who's gonna hit the cover off the ball. He did hit 17 home runs last year. Had 18 home runs the year before. And if we're in a part-time situation, I'm all good with that. If he split time with Ramos for the rest of the year, okay. I don't particularly think he's going to hit 119 the remainder of the year. And then if you look into some of the more advanced stats, then you'll see that his luck is not so good on balls that he hits in play. So that's that. Looks like a rental. Todd Frazier, the Todd father, is back. Back in the New York groove, baby.
He's happy about that. Jersey
He's
boy.
thrilled, yeah.
He's got to drive over to the bridge and go home.
Yeah. So for him, he's batting 241 this year. He's played pretty regularly, but on the flip side of that, he's coming over to a stacked infield, and I'm not saying that from a standpoint where we are world beaters. Just the fact that we have so much depth on the infield. He can play third base, he can play first base, he can DH, and I think the most important part as we head into we've been in a kind of schedule where we're heavy against left-handed pitching. He's batting 345 this year against lefties, so that's probably the reason that we got him. He'll start against some lefties here and there. A nice power bat, great veteran presence in the clubhouse. But Keith, how much do you think this had to do with how much Alonso's struggling?
I think it has to do a lot. We want another bat that's going to have some pop. The Todd father is what the Todd father is. He's not going to be any better than a 240, 250 hitter. Yeah. 15 to 25 home runs. And at his age, who knows? He's getting up there a little bit. I also think that his leadership, because you remember in the past, even when he wasn't playing and when he was struggling and everything else, he had a certain value to the clubhouse where he added such a leadership. He brought the clubhouse together. The salt and pepper thing, he was the one that brought that all together. So I think the hope is, yeah, that's right.
Do you remember what year that was from?
2018.
That was the year where we sizzling hot start, and then June happened.
Anyway,
and then this goes away.
So but to my point, I think that he has a value more than just what he does at the plate. I think he has that veteran leadership, and I don't think he's afraid to stand in the shadows a little bit and not play every day, and lead out these young guys. So I think it's a really good ad. And when he does come up to the plate, he's always a threat. Todd father is
kind of like the Keith of the Mets now.
Kind of, he's not a hitter like Keith. But,
no, I'm talking about you.
Oh yeah,
you're a great veteran presence. You do.
There you go.
You're not afraid to step up to the plate.
Although I'm not as old as Rodriguez. Let me rag on him while he's not here.
Gotta rag on him when he's not here. So of course, when we think of Todd Father, we think of two things: a very frustrating hitter that strikes out a lot, but had the biggest hit of last year.
This year?
No.
We're gonna see him in a DH role, a pinch hit role. I mean, it would have been much better yesterday to see him come up in that first game as a pinch hitter. You would feel a little more because he has that ability to just pop it out. But let's not get into that first game yesterday.
Well, we have. Remember, we talked about back in the day, we could just make believe things didn't happen, but now we do a show, so we can't do that anymore.
Right, we did have a conversation, right?
Sometimes it's so funny.
We love this show, and we love being here for you all, and we love being with each other. But sometimes it just sucks so bad because we have to face. You can't just ignore the music; you have to hear it.
So it's a great couple of lines there,
Yeah.
All right, and then of course had the biggest hit of 2019. That gives me goosebumps. I could watch that over and over and over again. The way he hit the ball. I remember the guy. Remember the broadcast booth was actually in left field that day. That's the day. And then
Remember
Cano,
that?
no
Yes.
Cano, Conforto. I was up in Orlando. I was at Volcano Bay,
Yes, you were. And
and I was in my room. I was going nuts.
Keith, Gary, and Ron were out in left field
Yeah.
breathing in everybody's droplets.
Yes, very true. And and Joe will remember this when they hit the home run and Darling is looking up and Hernandez doesn't bother to look over his shoulder. He's just watching the monitor. And then when it goes out and Gary's like, "It's out of here." Keith and Ron look at each other like, "Yep, some shit's going on. Something's going on in this place." So that the least of it. Thank you, Todd Father, for that moment. Tony, what's up, buddy?
I don't have a
Carlos is
lot
here.
of bad memories. with
Diana,
Top
what's
Five.
up?
I really don't. I mean, he did some frustrating things in terms of swings and misses and stuff like that. But that's the type of player he is. We didn't expect.
That's who he was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So Sean says, "Is there anyone left to watch? You guys, since so many brave souls swore off the Mets this past weekend." Yeah. So that's one thing. Let's get into that real quick. How easy is it to say I'm done with the team? Because I see that all over Facebook. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. From anywhere from the them skipping the game against the Marlins for the racial inequality in the country to giving up just huge last innings to teams that we hate from other boroughs. And all you start seeing is I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. And then I forget who it was. I can't remember the name, but you just reminded me there, Joe, by putting that flash on the bottom. Somebody put in, I'm done watching the Mets, and he put a bunch of spaces below until tomorrow at 2:00. Of course, I mean,
I'm done with the Mets.
We do
after
that
every loss.
Yeah, but we come back and we watch the game anyway. So, Sean,
I even
good
don't
point
even
there.
Okay, for the record, sometimes for everybody out there in Metsyland, I sometimes don't even talk to Farach, and these guys are my friends. I will ignore them because I just don't want to hear it. But guess what?
What an asshole.
First pitch, I'm there, and I'll be
Back,
texting
baby.
everybody. What's up, guys? Let's do this. Let's get them. But in terms of when we get into politics, I'm not sure if that's how you were leading, and if I'm
No.
leading-
It's just in general for one reason or another. You're rooting for a team for Diana. See, that's the
Diana
spirit there.
is a bomb. Never
Yeah.
done. That's it.
And a nice hat too. But
Yeah.
just in terms of anything, if you're a loyal, they some of them are saying I've been a Mets fan for 50 years and I'm done after this. Like, chill. Just chill out. Root for the team that's on. Just because they walk off the field, just because they give up 18 runs in the last inning.
I don't say chill. Farach, let me tell you. I don't say chill.
Sorry.
What I say is peace. Because I am already pissed off enough. I don't need your extra negativity to piss me off further. So if you're just that kind of fair weather Met fan that you can't stick around, first of all, whether you're a man or woman, I feel sorry for your spouse if that's how you deal with life. But peace. Get out. Bye. I don't need your extra aggravation.
But-
I'm aggravated
but
enough. I don't need you to aggravate
That's all
me
this
more.
though. I feel like it's all this and I'm gonna be tough on the keyboard and screw these guys and
I didn't
then
even lie to myself.
they're watching. They're watching. Hilda, what's up? Appreciate you guys watching as always. All right, so let's move it along here from fair weather fans. Let's talk about this past weekend. We played the New York Yankees. Took the first two games. Tim, what's up, buddy? Same game, same exact. Not the Yankees. No, especially this year, Tim. And Tim says same game, same exact results. If it's not the Yankees, does it make that much of a difference? No, absolutely not. I mean, that loss just grabbed the heart out of all of us. And Joe in our chat over the weekend said we're absolutely losing game two. when you get your heart ripped out like that, giving up 5 runs in the last inning of a game to you're up 7-2, and all you need to do is catch the ball and tag the guy at third base who didn't slide.
I think Sean just nailed it too. Did you see what Sean put that up, Joe? If you don't mind. I work with individuals on the spectrum. Our technical term for this is attention-seeking behavior.
And that's where I was going with that. You know, it's
really
these tough people behind the keyboard, and you know, and that's just what it is. I mean, I don't know what it would take for me not to be a Mets fan anymore. I just don't. That's not something that goes around in my mind.
You know what it would take me to not be a Mets fan? For them to be against what happened in that Marlins game the other day. If that would make me consider not being a Mets fan. I'm proud of my Mets for that game. I'm sorry to say, I know a lot of people are pissed, but I'm proud of my Mets. They did a good job. And the Marlins too, and I hate the Marlins. Did a good job partnering with the Mets on that.
And if you're going to be pissed off at anybody that kind of started it was Michael Conforto. Well, no, I'm talking about the on the two teams. Conforto actually is, after seeing what Dom went through, you know, great teammate. You know, he reached across to the Marlins, said, "Hey, let's do this." You know, basically what it was. So I mean, Conforto's coming into his own this year. He's having a hell of a season at the plate, and really taking on. You know, you don't. From a captain standpoint, you don't have to be the rah-rah guy and whatnot. We've learned that from David Wright, right? So David Wright did all the right things behind clubhouse doors, and you know, through Thor's lunch out, and you know, handled things the way that they needed to be handled. And I was really proud of Conforto when I was watching, because I was watching the game, and then when that went through, they had Conforto, Dom Smith, and a couple other guys that they were talking to, and it was Conforto that was being the vocal guy. Dom said a few words, obviously, but super proud of Conforto, super proud of the team, and then yeah, exactly, Cornet. Yeah, super proud all the way around. Michael, Jets fan. Hey, by the way, producer Joe is a Jets fan, so you guys, that's a hell of a comment there. Why didn't the Mets make any moves today for starting pitcher, center field? And I'm not happy they didn't really address relief pitcher. We probably could have got a better catcher too. This game today was tough. We needed that win, and we choked in the 3 games last few days against the Yankees. Yes.
Well, I'm a Giants fan, so we've had a lot more Super Bowls than you guys have over the years. So maybe Joe can relate to you better than that. So like I've had release. In terms of the Mets not doing well, in terms of my team winning championships, but you know, because I know the Jets, what was it, 19-something 69? Or other, but you're right, I wasn't even born. So, but the Giants have won several since then. So the Jets haven't won any, and the Giants have won several. Can I say that again?
You can do it, right?
Anyway,
Sean,
that's just a plug for our "We Stomped You Out" podcast.
Who muted Keith?
Joe did.
The Jets fan, Newman.
Am I still muted? No, I'm not.
No, you're good.
That's also a plug for our "We Stomped You Out" podcast. It's going to be coming this Thursday. "We Stomped You Out" is a Giants podcast. It's not a Jets podcast. It's a Giants podcast, so you should check us out. I said Thursday minus 1 day. Yes. You didn't hear the 1 day part because Joe muted me. Sneaky plug. There we go. Sneaky
plug.
I do like the Jets. I hope the Jets do great. I'd rather the Jets beat the crap out of everybody in the East anyway. Trust me. I don't dislike the Jets. I just dislike some Jet fans not named Joe and George.
I want the Patriots to win that division again.
No, I want the Jets to win the division. You know why? Because it aggravates everybody when the Jets win. Oh, I can set a stage for that. It aggravates everybody when the Jets win. I love when the Jets win because the Jets, it pisses everybody off. The Dolphins get mad. The Patriots get mad. The Bills get mad. It's great. I like
that. But that never happens.
It doesn't ever happen, true. But it's funny when it happens, and I love it, and I revel in it. I enjoy it because all the teams in the AFC East get so mad at the Jets. Even though the Jets have done poorly, they take it so personal when the Jets do well. And I love it that New York can piss people off that way. So let's go Jets. But if you're facing the Giants, Out of here.
Out of here. Two things. I was gonna go to the that comment. I'm proud of the Jets, though they're not bad this year, 9-7, and the playoffs. So we'll see. We'll see. Back to Sean, your comment. The image of Dom and JD Davis with their arms around each other. Exactly what I thought of. Pee Wee Reese and Jackie Robinson from the movie 42. And
good call out.
It is something that I taught my son on Friday. Went through and talked to him about what, because he did a little semi book report last year on Jackie Robinson. So I taught him a little bit more about it and taught him about how fans treated Jackie Robinson and the reason why they treated him that way. What a big impact Pee Wee Reese had, when he put his arm around him and said, maybe tomorrow we're all with the same number and they'll not be able to tell us apart.
How brave Jackie was.
People are screaming, and he's got stepped on, he got hit in the head, and nobody cared about him, and
he was so resilient, Jackie Robinson, to just absorb all that punishment.
Yeah,
and personal. When somebody's yelling those racial slurs and threats to him, it's not about him. It's about his kids, his wife, his mom, his dad, his grandparents, his whole ancestry. It's disgusting, and he stood out there and persevered. He could be considered a hero, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah.
Steve Rodriguez joins us, says Yankees suck.
Yankees are the best.
Oh.
I just did it to piss him off. Hopefully it worked.
Sean, that's a good call out. I'll look into that because I do want him to learn a little bit more, and of course I think we'd be remiss if we didn't salute man who played Jackie Robinson in the movie 42, Chadwick Boseman, who passed away on Jackie Robinson Day.
On Jackie Robinson Day, yeah.
Which was pretty incredible. Passed away after a 4-year battle with colon cancer, and it's just the strength of this man to go through what he went through during those 4 years while filming movies to make us happy, to entertain us, to go out to the children's hospitals to visit kids with cancer and not mention a word about his having cancer. That's a pretty damn incredible situation.
Brave.
Very brave, and
think about it, right? Frotch, you get
one
the
for
flu.
you.
Chadwick, you get the flu, you get sick, and we all do it. You bitch and moan about it, right? Think about
Especially
it.
us guys, right? According to women, we're the worst.
Well, no. I'm not gonna subscribe to that nonsense because it's not necessarily true. But you got colon cancer. You fought through it through treatments, bulked up, lost weight, did whatever you needed to do to get the role, and went to work every day. That is the, definition of bravery in terms of being sick and fighting through it and perseverance. I didn't know all that, and most people didn't. I'm not sure who did, but for me personally, I didn't know he was going through all that, through all these different acting roles, and they were pretty demanding actor roles. Think about what he did with the Black Panther and then Avengers. Pretty demanding roles. I am just glad that we got to experience those characters that he brought to life, because he truly brought them to life, and witness his talent. We're fortunate. I don't want to sulk on his death. It sucks, so young, but I'd rather look at it as we are so fortunate to experience the talent he had and the characters he brought to life for us.
Diagnosed at 39 years old, passed away at 43. Man. So
that's terrible. God forbid. I wouldn't handle it that well. I'm just gonna be honest.
Oh no,
I wouldn't handle it as well as he did. No way in hell.
All right, let's get back to some Met stuff, and Michael. Well, Mr. Michael Jets fan says, without the injuries to the whole National League East and 16 teams making the playoffs, do the Mets have a good chance with games against the Phillies, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Rays, the Braves, the Nats, and one more Yankee game? All right, so let's take that real quick and break that down real quick. So the Mets are, at last I saw, 3 games out of a playoff spot. 25 games to go. And this is the only year that you'll be able to say that, where if it was August 31st and we were 5 games under 500 at this point, we'd probably be sellers. But in 2020, with a new owner coming in, that's just not the case. Everybody's in it except for the Pirates, they say in the National League. But so against the Phillies, this is a team that gave up a 10-run inning to the Braves. I'm not overly concerned. I know we got swept by the Phillies, but I'm not overly concerned with how they've continued throughout the year. Their bullpen is worse than ours, and that's tough to say. We brought in Miguel Castro. We'll see how that goes. But the other teams, the Orioles, that's a winnable 4 games. We got 2 games against them this week, 2 games against them next week. You got the Blue Jays, who are really doing well, and actually I think they're right behind the Yankees. And they just brought in one guy from the Marlins. I cannot remember his name right now. The second baseman,
Bob Menery.
Yes. So he he goes to Toronto. I think they got a pitcher too. So they're up in their game. The Rays are just amazing every single year. We talk about this a lot. The Rays and the Cardinals are the 2 teams, one in each league, that no matter what is going on, and sometimes you'll look at their roster and be like, who the hell are these people?
I think it's somebody on
but they're 10 games under.
Team that picked the Rays to be first.
That was a very impressive pick. Whoever could possibly do that.
Yeah, whoever could possibly do that.
The Nats, I'm not concerned with. Braves, obviously, I am concerned about. So, I mean, you have very winnable games out there. But getting back to what happened, this weekend, where you're just an inch away from winning a game, and winning the first 3 out of 4 from a team that it's a tough team, but you want to beat them while they're down. They have some of their guys are out, and the Yankees kind of also showed that with all their guys on the injured list. Love that picture, Shay. With all their guys on the injured list, they still are able to produce. So, which for us sucked over the weekend. But let's not focus too much on that. What's done is done. Since Michael Jets fan, since you've been extremely active here, why don't you go ahead and pick a number between 1 and 100, minus the number 16, and we'll talk through 100 things Mets fans should know before they die. We'll go through that.
Why don't you pick like Giants championship year numbers, like 86 or 90?
Boom.
Or you can pick 69. It's also a Met championship year. Who else won that year?
I think he's gonna go at 69. All right, Michael, if you're still watching, go ahead and let us know what number you want to choose, and we'll go through it.
I don't see Mets picking up those. Excuse me. He asks, do you see the Mets bringing up some top prospects like Allen, Susbaki, Gilmore, or others to pitch for Porcello and Waka? I don't see that because they didn't have the same training protocol. I mean, anything's possible. They brought Batty up.
I'm not sure if
Batty.
Well, we don't know. We call him Beatty.
But I don't know. I don't know if we would bring those people up because I don't know what their training protocols were. I can't answer that. I mean, they may have been training as if they were in the minor leagues right now, and they may have had a whole protocol going on with the club monitoring it. Then maybe, but if not, then I would say not.
Well, I think Allen is in the player pool, and Kilmore. I think maybe he's referring to Kilame. But yeah. All right, so let's get to Michael Jets. More Yankees suck. Yes, we tend to agree there. All right, 86.
Good job, Mike.
86th is called The Last Day Blues. Ugh, I don't want to do this one. I don't want to do this one. This is kind of, you feel as though you're choosing a good one here when you pick 86, but just The Last Day Blues, just as soon as I read it, I had a feeling of what it was going to be. But the Mets reached the postseason with wins the Monday after the scheduled season ended in 1973 and 1999. Celebrated on the road at Wrigley Field in 73, and in Cincinnati with the Al Leiter game, the 5-0 Al Leiter game, wild card game. That was in 1999. William, we'll do yours next week. Promise. Then there were the years the Mets found out what it was like to be on the losing end on the final day with all the chips on the table. 1998, a two-team race between the Mets and the Cubs for the National League wildcard saw the New York up by 1 game on Chicago with 5 games left. Giants, not even considered in the race, were 4 games back. Then it happened. The Mets were outscored 25-10 in their last 5 games. That they were swept by a 106-win Braves team that owned the National League East by 18 games was no surprise. A rookie named John Rocker. This is just a rough one. John Rocker.
Nicknamed D Battery Rocker.
Got his second career save that weekend in Atlanta. But what Mets manager Bobby Valentine, the front office, the players, and heartbroken fans pondered all winter was how they dropped the last 2 games at Shea Stadium to a Montreal team that lost 97 times. And that, in the next 2, 2007 and 2008, we lost against shitty Marlin teams. And, of course, one of those years was the Tom Glavine, let's give up 12 runs in the first inning and say, oh, it's just a game. That's it, just a game. So that's what we chose here, Michael. So 86 was a great year for the Mets as they won the World Series, as Keith attempts to reconnect back here. But number 86 in the book is just awful. Just awful memories. I had forgotten about 98, to be honest with you. I want to say that's the year where what's his name? Brian Jordan. Brian Jordan came in and hit like a game-winning or a game-tying home run against John Franco in the 8th or 9th inning or whatnot. So that is the depressing number 86 in our book for this week. I guess we can't go into the Fuacata of the week with Keith having to take a step away. But let's go into Mr. Rojas. Let's go into our manager overthinking things here real quick, because I think that's just what he's doing. You see these lineups that he makes every day. Keith, welcome back. You see these lineups that he makes every day where you got Alonso's batting 6th, Alonso's batting 7th. Things aren't working out. Then you bump him up to 2nd. Today in a big win situation after a couple of heartbreaking losses to the Yankees, Michael Conforto's out of lineup. Your one or your top 3 best hitters for the year. Dom Smith came through. Cano came through. If you're gonna have that many lefties against a lefty who's not tough on lefties, you follow me there? Why not Conforto? I mean he's he's played every game, and that's okay. It's okay.
He's done great against the lefties.
Yeah, and you see they put up a stat from the other day. Every single year, through his 5 years in the majors, his average against left-handers has gone up. I remember the second year after the nice 2015 where he came up. He had a 2-home-run game against the Royals in the World Series, and then 2016, he's hitting fine, and then he goes against Madison Bumgarner, and he struggles so mightily that he gets sent down to the minors that year. But this year he's hitting over 300 against lefties, and I just don't get it. I don't understand why you don't have your best hitters in the lineup. Pete is struggling. Why are we bringing him from 6th or 7th in the lineup up to number 2 in the lineup? I see that's the stuff I don't get. And then one other thing, and I'll toss it over to you, Keith. The other thing is that the game 1 of that doubleheader on Sunday, Mets are up 7-2. You bring over from the from I don't even what is it called now? The team that's over there that's not on the team on the roster right now.
Shithole.
So you bring up Drew Smith
from the shithole,
and then you say, I'm not ready to use Drew Smith in a 5-run lead that we have because he's just coming back. But then you use him in the nightcap in a tie game. So I don't follow that at all. He used Hughes in there in the first game of that doubleheader. He used him despite him pitching in 3 straight days, not just 3 straight games. So I don't get how Rojas is coming to some of these decisions.
I think there's some rookie mistakes in there. So my biggest issue with him is, for example, in game one yesterday, which Michael just mentioned, he said Saturday, but it was really yesterday. Game one yesterday, he brought in, I think it was in the 5th inning or maybe the 6th. He brought in like Hamilton. He made all these defensive adjustments, and it screwed us over because the same freaking scrubs came up when we needed hits, and they can't get a hit for the life of them. So, that's the other thing. Like this catcher we got, this guy can't get a hit. Why are we bringing in guys that can't hit? We need people who can hit.
That's another thing. So, are you talking about Ali Sanchez?
Yeah, Sanchez.
So he lets him hit in a situation where the Mets have runners on base,
right?
And then
I would have brought Guillaume in or somebody, anybody.
Guillaume's hitting 400 still.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So here's the thing. So he's like, let me slow down because my brain is getting so aggravated. This is what's going to happen today. So we're playing in a doubleheader, right? And a doubleheader is only 7 innings long, as we all know at this point, right? We're playing 2 7-inning games, and when you're getting into a 7-inning game, you can't bring in defensive players towards the end of that game because towards the end of that game is now the 5th inning, right? And what are you going to do? You're going to bring in Diaz, who has a history of blowing games. Right now, it's a 60-game season. Every game is crucial. You can't make sure everybody has playing time. This is not Elm Jack. This is not Little Leagues. Elm Jack for you New Yorkers. This is not Little Leagues. This is not a league where it's okay to lose a game. It's a 60-game season. Every game is so critical and crucial. You need to have your best players at every given moment. And you're bringing in your scrubs because they have better gloves because we have a lead. In my opinion, that was the totally wrong move to make. Does that mean that those bullpen pitchers would not have given up those runs? No, of course not. But does it mean in those critical situations on the bottom or top half of the inning when we're up, we'd have our better hitters up? Yes, of course. But now they're no longer available because you freaking benched them to bring in a fucking 0.050 hitter, Billy Hamilton.
Ugh. Talking me about Billy Hamilton.
Billy Hamilton. Hamilton.
Can't
right?
say. What was the first thing that? No, Billy Hamilton. You're right. Yeah. What was the first thing I said? You can't steal first base. This guy can't get on base. He can't.
You need to leave your best players in. This is not the year to bring in people for defensive indifference. Because we had a defensive indifference play. By the way, they left that second base open for that scumbag to steal. I'm full of curses tonight, but it was so aggravating. They just let that guy take second base. Why would you do that in any situation? What are you doing? In any situation, why would you leave second base open for the runner on first to steal in a game that is only 7 innings long? Why would you?
Well, let's put that in perspective, though. What are the chances Ramos throws him out?
0. But what are the chances that he would have taken it so easy?
Yeah, of course.
Players were playing the bases and the pitcher was watching him. There would have been a big difference on that. But instead, we just said, "Hey, their second base. Take it if you want. Don't worry."
What's one of the first things that you learn as a kid when you're learning to play baseball? You learn to catch the ball, right?
Catch the ball.
Jimenez.
The one thing
you catch the ball.
2 hands.
You tag the guy who's not sliding. He doesn't even dive into third base. He's going and standing up.
Oh my God!
Catch the ball, tag the guy, and the ball game is over.
That game aggravated me. You know what got me through that game? I was watching with my father, and I was listening to 880. So I was listening to the radio broadcast, and they were about 2 or 3 minutes ahead of the TV broadcast. So I already knew what happened. Yeah. So we were making believe like we were psychics. Hey, I bet you here comes a strike on the outside. That's the only thing that got me through the misery.
Whenever I know I'm behind on the game, my phone gets flipped over because I don't want any of that nonsense. All right, want to go touch upon, on a couple things that Michael Jets fan is saying. We should have traded for Remuto or Vasquez. So first of all, Remuto is not on the block. Vasquez was. The asking price was super high, top prospects and all such.
But even if
the Red Sox are rebuilding,
JT Realmuto, what was it last year? It was still too high.
Yeah, and it could have been Rosario and a couple things. But that was last year with the Marlins.
Buffalo is a sour point in my opinion right now because
no, for sure. No,
defense is.
If he was hitting, then you can maybe like last year.
Maybe
we knew that he wasn't a good defensive catcher last year.
Piazza's defense is 100 times better than this
light
guy.
years ahead.
Piazza at least stopped balls.
Right.
The only Piazza can do is Piazza really throw people out, but nothing really got past Piazza, and he knew how to call a game.
Right. All right. And then as far as Vasquez is concerned, I was not interested in giving up a boatload for Vasquez or for anybody, for that matter, because here's my thought process. My thought process is that Steve Cohen comes in here and in the offseason lays out a 4-year deal for Realmuto, a smart contract. I don't want to go more than 4 years on a catcher, obviously, but just pay the man. This is a guy who's got $16 billion, and he's gonna be he is instantly gonna be the richest owner in baseball. So in my mind, growing up as a Mets fan, having gazillions of dollars, you're okay with a deal that makes sense in the way of years. So a 4-year deal. But if you want to pay the guy $27 million a year, by all means at this point, because this is a guy who in that situation. Well, but this is a guy in that situation.
$27 million a year.
He's gonna get $25 million a year, and
then he can go elsewhere. That's a lot, bro.
No, because this owner can afford it.
And how do you excuse not giving Conforto $35 million a year?
Give it to him. I don't know about $35 million, but give him $30 million a year.
You got to go like that? I'm glad.
No, but Cohen has $16 billion, and he's prepared to spend.
He's going to be the richest owner in baseball if he gets the team.
That's what I said.
If he gets the team.
Yeah,
I know we're all talking like he got it, but he doesn't have it because remember he has to go through the process of all the owners approving him.
Yeah, but so you need you need 75. You only need 75%, and he already passed the first round. There's no reason to think that he wouldn't get the vote for the owners in the second round. And then I'm sure we'll find out the truth about this afterwards. But the rumors are that there's a potential that baseball was behind the Wilpons putting the team up for sale because it really became like an auction at some point, right? It became the highest bidder is going to move to the next round and whatnot. And that's not generally how sales of teams go. Usually it's, there's a lot going on in the background, but it just seemed like, all right, tops and that's it. And the other thing is, I haven't heard much about SNY.
Tanking them, bro.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, okay. And if Rodriguez was here, he would say they've done a great job. And I will say they have done a great job in the last few years, but they have brought us to the point where them doing what they should be doing at a 60 or 50% capacity, we are calling a great job because they have done what they should be doing at a negative 50% capacity for 10 years before that.
Yes. Yeah, ever since what's his name? I won't mention him on the show. But in my eyes, if you had a guy like Cohen with this, Cespedes situation,
legitimacy,
right? If you had Cohen with the Cespedes situation, I feel more comfortable with that guy continuing to bring in talent after the Cespedes situation than I would ever feel about the Wilpons. I mean, the Wilpons were crying foul with what's his name?
Wilponzies.
The Wilponzies. They were crying about it for 10 years or for a decade.
So before we started the show, that was one of our biggest topics, right?
Yes.
We started the show
all the time.
We talked about starting the show about 2 or 3 years before starting the show, and one of the biggest things we talked about was the Wilpons putting the Mets
A
into
Fugazi.
their own mess.
Yeah.
The Wilpons mess became the Mets mess,
Right.
essentially. Yeah, it was just a mess.
And I mean, they had
Should I say mess again, Joe?
and and this is why Cohen. This is how Cohen got a minority piece in the team because of that Ponzi stuff that went on. But they infused all this money into the team, and they were still crying about payroll. And so that's what I feel like Sandy Alderson. I feel like these guys, the general managers, have done the best with what they were given. I don't believe for
I
one
agree.
second, and stand up guys Sandy and stand up guys Brody for saying they've never been capped with what they can do. When every single year it was always we're gonna get creative, we're gonna see what's happening, and how many times Keith and Joe and Rodriguez in after the December winter meetings where all this talk was going on of all these teams, and we're like, are we gonna continue to act like the Royals, or are we gonna be a New York franchise? So that's really what I'm looking forward to, and it was a big win over the weekend to hear that A Rod and J Lo were out of the running for me, because I felt all the whole time that it was just for entertainment purposes. And J Lo, your tone deaf post, she was blasted on all of social media.
I feel bad because she lives in a bubble. She don't know better.
That's true.
She lives in a bubble. She really don't know better, which is also why a lot of times I say like rich people and famous people sometimes should just shut up about politics, because it's us regular people that feel the effects of the politics more. But that's a whole other subject. But I'm glad Cohen is in the mix, and I'm not saying that those other people don't know what they're saying. It's just that we feel it. Knowing and feeling are two different things. But I'm glad Cohen is now like the final person. I think it's going to add a lot of legitimacy to the Mets.
It's the final
I think it's going to piss off
countdown.
the Yankees. I think the Yankees are going to get pissed off because we're going to start spending like them or above. I think the Phillies are going to be pissed off because they sign these huge contracts, and we are winning now more than them, let alone when we're able to spend
with Bryce Harper
better than them, i.e. Bryce Harper. I think a lot of our, as Met fans, it's not like enemies, not like, we're going to war, but as a baseball fan, your enemies, Phillies, Braves, Nationals, Marlins, these teams are going to be fearful and pissed off. And then our intercity rivals, the Yankees, we may trump them on the back page a lot more because of Steve Cohen. I think it's going to be such a huge positive, and I think getting rid of shedding the Wilpons and getting Cohen in is going to be a huge, huge boost to all of our confidence and Met fans' ego, and in terms of us winning, which is really what it comes down to.
Mets, be careful. Mets fans with egos, we're troublesome.
Oh, we have disgusting jerks.
We have a few minutes left here, and in defense of what you were saying about the celebrities talking about politics, but they're not flaunting all this money about spending. J Lo came out and said J Lo actually just came out and said, "Oh, we had all this money and now we don't know what to." That was the part.
My point is that she doesn't. When people
she doesn't grasp
at her,
it. Yeah, I got you.
Quite understand.
Yeah,
like it's rich people complaints, and a lot of times
it's like when I complain.
Yeah, right. Because you're like a multi-billionaire, and that's not a Democrat or Republican because I hate them both. I think they all suck. It's just more of a know your role type of
know your role and shut your mouth. All right.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten through everything that we're going to get through today. I do want to just talk real quick about the next part of our schedule. Let me just pop this up here. I'm not going to pop it up on the screen because that just makes stuff. Oh, look at you, your little see-through stuff. All right, so here's our next span of game that we kind of touched on a little bit. We're got 2 at the Orioles. Just in case you are living under a rock, the Wednesday game got changed from a 7:10 start or 7:05 start to a 4:05 start. Tomorrow's game 7:35. Then you got the makeup game on Thursday against the Yankees. That would be the sixth game of the season series. That's a 4:10 start, so you got back-to-back afternoon games on Wednesday and Thursday. And then you got a 4-game set with the Phillies. We're likely to be back again next Monday. It's a 1:10 start on Monday, so we can go on at our typical time, and hopefully talking about a magnificent week in Mets the Mets kingdom. So let's do it. Let's Orioles. You got a 2-game set, Keith. What you got? What you think goes going on there?
Sweep.
Boom! Boom! One more. Boom! Let's get a sweep going there. Joe, you want to chime in on this? You want to just put... Okay, Joe says split. All right. Don't split against the Orioles. I'm going to get upset. I'm going to get upset. And then, bottles disappear when Steve gets upset. All right. So, all right. Joe says split. Keith and I say sweep. Wonder... Reality bites. It certainly does. All right. We can't really talk about a series with the Yankees because it's only just a 1-game spot there. But do we split the season series there?
What's that?
Joe says yes. It's just a 1-game.
Oh, we're taking them in that 1 game.
Do it. And it's at home. It's at Citi Field. Can't stop us there. Yeah, you can. All right.
Empire
and then
161.
All right, and then we got a 4-game set against the Phillies at Citi Field. I'm sure we'll see Zach Wheeler there. We got a 7-10 games on Friday and Saturday, and then a 1-10 start on both Sunday and Monday. So it's the rare 4-game series, Friday through Monday. It is at Citi Field.
I would say sweep at PNC, 2 out of 3 in Citi. I hate to say it that way, but it's really true. As long as we beat the crap out of Wheeler, I'm happy.
Let's do it. I'm going to say 3 out of 4. There you go. Typical Mets roll. Exactly. No, it's a 4-game set.
Oh, 3 out of 4.
All right, yeah. 3 out of 4. So that'll wrap it up for that set, and we'll be back on Monday. Keith, you got a Fuacata?
I'm going to
say you do.
Yeah, of course. I want to Fuacata a certain individual.
Ooh. I like when it's an individual. Oh, don't do a Met. Oh, okay.
I have to do it. But this is like a encouraging Fuacata. And his name is Dylan Patances. Fuacata! Because you went to your home stadium that you played for so long and blew it. You made them say to themselves, thank God we got rid of you. You blew it, punk. Blew it! No, I'm serious. I'm so pissed at him. You go into where you played for so long, and they just let you go into free agency. Didn't even offer you anything, and you went there and just laid an egg, shit the bed. You blew it.
He threw a pitch taller than him.
He's a punk.
That's what he did.
He blew it. No, he blew it. I think he can be good, but he definitely blew it. He shit the bed, bro. And you know what? Fuacata Dylan Patances. Sorry. Tim was probably watching the game, so Fuacata Tim too. Sorry, Tim.
It probably was.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into just real quick. Obviously, you got us tonight. Tomorrow night, you'll see the Just Too Sweet show. A little bit of wrestling. I know there's a pay-per-view. Just Too Sweet, baby. I know there's a pay-per-view over this past weekend. Wednesday is the return.
I'm not a wrestling fan, but if there was a pay-per-view this last weekend, you need to tune into Just Too Sweet.
You.
Tim and Eric kill it.
They do.
Yeah.
Wednesday, the return of is it season 3 of the We Stomped You Out show, our New York Giants show with myself, Keith, Timmy, and Rodriguez.
We're talking about tennis balls in your hands, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yes, tennis ball. Rather unique way of going through camp. I was cleaning out some stuff the other day, and I found Tim's picture that we used to post up.
Oh, you got to put that up.
Don't
even put Tim up. If he comes on the show, just put the picture.
Just put the picture. It's great. It brought a smile on my face. All right. So you got that. And then on Thursday night, I think We tried to do it over the weekend, but it just didn't work out. We might do it's our Subway Series recap. We'll kind of combine two of the shows together. Keith and I are going to join forces with Tim and Ed in a Mets and Yankees.
It should be epic.
And an epic broadcast there.
Do we have
and then
on that?
Well, we can ask producer Joe if he'll help us out.
Because otherwise we have nobody to edit us. It will be a rated X show.
No, we don't do it. Yeah, Tim says we don't do the pick anymore. We do real life, Tim.
All right.
And then on Friday we have the Kyle and Jader show, Jader and Kyle show. They did 2 episodes last week. I was part of one of them where we did a draft. It was a unique episode. We did a draft of
unique show.
We did a draft of the top 2014. Hey Joe. Of the top 2014 movies. So we did just like a fantasy football, baseball draft, but we did with movies. And then they also have a show from last week. They brought Nardo on. She's been off air for a bit. And so she joined a show about Pulp Fiction. So
are we producerless now?
I think we're producerless. But wow. I can be a producer.
Why don't we just go like...
there he's back.
He's back. Damn it.
All right. He is the boss. He's the boss of the show. But that'll do it for this week's worth of shows. And then, of course, we'll do it again next week. So, Keith, anything to say in closing?
Just want to say God bless America. Black lives, matter. And I can't wait to see the outcome of the Just Too Sweet. We stomped you out. And the Subway Series show is coming up.
And the Kyle and Jada show. I think that's on Friday. Yes, you are 100% correct on that. I do want to say, knock on wood, that even down here in Florida, the number of cases has dropped.
Yeah, I'm skeptical about all those numbers because how many people are testing, who's testing, what's testing, did they shut off booths? I think it's all a scam. I think the COVID is just rampant, and I think that they play with numbers. So don't let down your guard.
Right. So masks, the numbers have dropped even in South Florida. So do your due diligence. Make sure you're
based up for hurricane weekend though. I mean, I hate. Sorry, I know I'm dragging it out, but I hate numbers.
No hurricane.
Numbers. I feel like we need to just don't pay attention to numbers and be diligent until the very end. And when the end is, you'll know. I don't know what that means, but be diligent. No, it's true. You don't know what that means. Wear your mask.
No, I know.
Be diligent. Stay away from people. Sanitize. Don't pay attention to numbers. Be the same as you would have been in April when you were scared crapless of this thing. Still be
Don't
scared.
Say that because there's people that weren't scared at all and they were just going out and doing it.
Well, no, but you should be scared. It's still
be
out
careful.
There. Be diligent.
Wear your mask.
Wear your damn mask.
It's a sign of respect.
Sanitize. And if you're gonna even wear sanitizer for that.
And while you're at it, while you're wearing your mask, go to BrooklynWaterCoffeeRoasters.com and do your buy 2 get 1 free.
Get the energy for that extra forearm strength.
Speaking of which, I got an injury. I'm not sure what it's from, but it's right in my elbow, and I'm not sure what it's
the right side, right? We'll talk
about
that on the show.
It's my strength. All right. Joe's going to cancel us if we don't end this right now. All right, so we will talk to you guys next week.
Peace,
let's root on those Mets. We'll talk to you next week. Peace out. Later.
Peace.